Bai Xiaoan is completely surprised that he managed to use manifestation like Hussein despite the fact that his current status has not reached the gold level yet. Luckily, the Eye of Apocalypse is around to explain to him that the high affinity with metal life itself can amplify his spiritual power several times. That said, he can temporarily reach the gold level at that instance, and he would be able to use manifestation. On the other hand, Qi Yanyan is confused about how Bai Xiaoan can use the skill of the demon spider cult, and she begins to wonder if there is a connection between them. Meanwhile, the Abyssal Lady, Kusuna, felt a strong impact all over her body. That said, Ralph Howard Craft, or the Legacy of Lele, which is commonly known as the Metal Life, praises Bai Xiaoan for his little tricks. Kusuna stares at Bai Xiaoan with so much anger, so Bai Xiaoan knows from that moment that he needs to think carefully or he'll be isekai'd as a worthless, lonely loser in a completely new world. Metal Life tries to warn him, but Bai Xiaoan, being himself, doesn't know how to hold back. With no further precautions, Bai Xiaoan attacks Kusuna with his new manifestation technique. His manifestation skill manages to bite some of the tentacles of Kusuna, which causes the Abyssal Lady great damage. Seeing his attack to be effective, Bai Xiaoan decided to show what he could really do. So, at that very moment, Bai Xiaoan summons his beast familiar, Whale Boy, in its full size to devour Kusuna. Whale Boy manages to bite Kusuna's head, making her whole body tremble in pain. Seeing that moment as a great opportunity, Bai Xiaoan activates his dark aura to incorporate the brute force along with the enhanced power of the Metal Life. Then, Bai Xiaoan charges up Metal Life to its maximum capacity, and his whole body starts to heat up. And just like that, Bai Xiaoan and Whale Boy deliver a powerful synchronous attack. Bai Xiaoan lunges towards Kusuna, and he delivers a magnificent slash, cutting Kusuna in half. At the same time, Whale Boy devours Kusuna's head, munching it like a big squid. In that vulnerable state of Kusuna, Bai Xiaoan signals Qi Yanyan to deliver a finishing blow using her demon fire crystal spear. With an evil grin, Qi Yanyan aims to hit Kusuna at its core to eliminate its very existence using her powerful spear. And just like that, Qi Yanyan launches her demon fire crystal spear toward Kusuna. Unfortunately, even in that state, Kusuna still manages to create a strong shield to stop the spear from piercing her core. Qi Yanyan felt disappointed about what happened, but Bai Xiaoan no longer plans to hold back. That said, Bai Xiaoan struck Metal Life in the ground, and he planned to use it as a catapult to throw himself in the direction of the demon fire crystal spear. He bends the Metal Life so much that it almost breaks apart. After accumulating enough force, he releases the holding force and lets himself fly in the direction of the spear. While in midair, Bai Xiaoan maneuvers himself and delivers a powerful kick on the spear to let it break through the barrier. Once again, the power of the demon fire crystal spear activates, and it gradually penetrates the shield of Kusuna. And just like that, the demon fire crystal spear pierces the core of Kusuna and it starts exploding like a bomb. Upon witnessing that, Qi Yanyan hopes for the best that Kusuna will meet her end with the attack from her spear. Then, Bai Xiaoan lands below on the ground while the body of Kusuna continues to burn down the purple flames. Considering Kusuna as a god, the impact of taking its life reflects on Bai Xiaoan's spiritual presence, the presence of a god slayer. Bai Xiaoan felt terrible, but he had to move on with it. Soon enough, Bai Xiaoan wears off his possession form. Qi Yanyan, on the other hand, thanks Bai Xiaoan for all of his efforts that leads them to victory. On top of that, she is thankful because she has proven her point that her demon fire crystal spear is strong enough to earn the respect of the old antiques in the upper realm. Bai Xiaoan asks her what exactly she wants to prove. Qi Yanyan tells him that if he has a chance to come to the Origin Star, he will surely understand her reason. Meanwhile, Metal Life interrupted their conversation because it wants to show them the opening of a portal. All of a sudden, the portal starts sucking them up. Bai Xiaoan doesn't like the timing of the portal because just like Feng Qinyu, he knows that they have to catch the culprit first. The impact of the death of the Abyssal Lady, Kusuna, is felt all over that place, and Bai Zihao is completely confused with the shaking of the whole place. Not long after, one of the soldiers called out his attention to show something to him. Apparently, their device has detected the nearby portal. Bada bing bada boom, the whole area, along with them, got sucked up by the biggest portal that they have ever seen. Bai Xiaoan could not believe his eyes after seeing how big and strong the portal was, to the point that it could suck up even buildings. One of his soldiers tells him that the portal is a fusion portal, which means the world they are currently in will merge into the world they came from. When the portal starts sucking up Bai Xiaoan, he holds onto the metal life, which shocks the sword spirit greatly. That said, the metal life asks Bai Xiaoan where he plans to take him. Bai Xiaoan happily tells the metal life that he will take it to his home. Not long after, the portal opens in the secret world of the spider's nest, and all that the portal has sucked up has been completely released. Upon arrival on the other side, the metal life questions Bai Xiaoan if the dry, ugly, disgusting land is his so-called home. Meanwhile, Bai Xiaoan wakes up and he finds himself in the presence of the giant balloons. Sorry, I meant under the presence of Feng Qinyu. Bai Xiaoan can't help himself but turn red, especially after seeing some opportunities for plot development. At that very moment, Bai Xiaoan informs Feng Qinyu that the portal did not send them back to the original coordinates where they came from. Feng Qinyu recognizes the place as the desert nearby Lin City, and she knows that based on their location, they are near the big black sand city. However, Bai Xiaoan cannot process what she is talking about because he is thinking of other big things that he just witnessed with his naked eyes. Soon enough, Yen Po Tian informs them that there is a city near their location, and he encourages them to go right straight to it. Meanwhile, the metal life starts questioning Bai Xiaoan again about his so-called home. Bai Xiaoan gets pissed off by its petty talks, so he tells the spirit sword to shut up because its breath stinks like a rusty metal. To not let the metal life ruin his mood, Bai Xiaoan throws the sword to his royal beast space, where it can talk all at once without bothering anybody. Then, the trio starts moving toward the nearby city that they have found. Elsewhere, huge debris from the other world are seen scattered around the area. Bai Xiaoan realizes that they have returned to the secret world of the spider's nest. Suddenly, he heard a familiar voice calling for his help. It's none other than his bratty sis who got stuck not in a window or washing machine, but on a spear of a rock soldier statue. Moments later, Bai Xining is already smiling because she's already in a comfortable position, in what seems like an aerial ship. One of the flight attendants informs Bai Xiaoan that the patriarch of the Bai family in the upper realm is calling him. The patriarch asks him about the current situation, and he wants to know if he has found anything useful at all, to which he confirms. Then, as the aircraft continues to fly back to the origin star, the patriarch and Bai Xiaoan talk about Qi Yanyan and what they should do about their current situation. Apparently, the patriarch is planning to use the situation to turn things in his favor. That said, Bai Xiaoan agrees to what the patriarch told him to do so. When the flight attendant decides to go away, Bai Xiaoan stops her because she seems very suspicious of her. It turns out that they call their great elder as Lord, and the word patriarch is something that they are not using at all. Then, Bai Xiaoan asks her who the heck she is, but the flight attendant just gives an evil smirk. All of a sudden, the flight attendant removes her clothes in front of Bai Xiaoan. It turns out that Bai Xiaoan was right because she is disguising herself as a flight attendant, and just like that, she revealed her true identity, wearing an overly seductive plot armor. In an instant, several guns are pointed at her, but she doesn't falter at all. The unknown lady is impressed at how fast their security response is. However, she doesn't give any signs of fear at all, and she immediately reveals her hidden knife. With no hesitation, she lunges and prepares to attack using her dagger that she bought for $10 at an off-brand Walmart. They rain a bullet on her, but villains are not called villains if they are easily killed. She seems like she is dancing with the bullets while she continues to attack. As expected, the security force is pissed off because they can't even land a single bullet. To make things worse is they are so close to shooting their own boss in the process. Suddenly, the enemy is right in front of Bai Xiaoan, ready to deliver a slash from her dagger. And just like that, she delivers a critical blow at Bai Xiaoan. Bai Xiaoan asks her again who the heck she is, but she simply tells her that she is obviously his enemy. Bai Xiaoan is confused as to why he is being attacked by someone who is apparently not one of the natives in the lower realm. Bai Xining is scared of the situation, and she can only cry while holding her critically injured brother. Suddenly, the security force is taken down by the familiar flying yellow daggers. Bada bing bada boom, Baro is in the house. Sorry, I meant aircraft. Baro expresses his dislike with the sharp tongue of Bai Xiaoan. He even calls Bai Xiaoan as an arrogant person. Baro tells him that they invade their plan and call them names that they don't deserve at all. Then, he approaches Bai Xiaoan with his two clones, Baro holds Bai Xiaoan's face with his one hand and tells him that they are all the same when it comes to death. He then spares his life and warns him that he will not give another chance if they come across each other again. Lastly, Baro asks him where the escape hatch is. After that, Baro exited the aircraft. Elsewhere, Bai Xiaoan and the gang are still walking under the scorching heat of the desert. All of them start complaining about their situation, but Bai Xiaoan reminds them that they have to endure everything and quickly go to the Black Sand City first. Out of nowhere, Bai Xiaoan heard a familiar voice. It's no other than Qi Yanyan. Qi Yanyan strongly believes that seeing them again is just a mere coincidence, and she doesn't want to talk anything about what's happened so far. Before leaving them, Qi Yanyan gave them one piece of advice. All of a sudden, an aircraft arrives in the sky behind Qi Yanyan. Qi Yanyan then tells them that the one in the upper realm has decided to prepare for the second attack at the lower realm. Meanwhile, Bai Xiaoan is dumbfounded at the size of the battleship. However, Qi Yanyan tells him that if the attack proceeds, the lower realm will witness not just one but several battleships. Then, Qi Yanyan tells Bai Xiaoan that she hopes he can go to the Origin Star and leaves. Bai Xiaoan then tells her to give them at least a ride, but the battleship flies away immediately. Soon after, Qi Yanyan's words starts bothering Bai Xiaoan. Nonetheless, they have no time to waste nor other choice but to continue their long walk to the Black Sand City. When the night arrives, Bai Xiaoan and the gang finally reach Black Sand City. Several shops are just around the corner, so the three immediately get some refreshments and a place to stay. After seeing the current date, they realize that one day in the other world is equivalent to 3 days in their world. While the three are having some petty talks, a sudden explosion ruins their wall. At that moment, Bai Xiaoan immediately prepares himself for any possibility. When the smoke subsides, they realize that there are several car crashes outside. After that, the three went outside, and they saw a suspicious lady in a black suit who was apparently kidnapping a blue-haired girl. However, the smoke that the girl has released in the area turns out to be poisonous. Bai Xiaoan then wonders who the girl is. Then he saw the symbol of the demon spider cult, and he realized that they were the ones behind the attack. In an instant, the enemy leaps in midair and parkers herself over the buildings. The poisonous smoke makes Bai Xiaoan feel dizzy, which eventually leads him to fall and lose consciousness. Before completely closing his eyes, he saw some glimpse of soldiers and a woman that came in his direction. Apparently, the woman recognizes him. Moments later, in a health and rescue facility, Bai Xiaoan wakes up. 2 security units are watching over him, and the one of them immediately calls the city lord when Bai Xiaoan wakes up. Bai Xiaoan asks them if he is in a hospital. Then, the woman enters the room where he is, and Bai Xiaoan recognizes her as the Lord of the Blue Land City. It turns out that she doesn't care about Bai Xiaoan being wanted in Bailan City because what she only cares about is tracking down the kidnapper. At that moment, Bai Xiaoan realizes that Lan Ziqi, who she met at the auction long ago, is the one who got kidnapped. Bai Xiaoan starts to feel bothered upon realizing several things. Then, she told the city lord of the Blue Land City that the demon spider cult was responsible for the kidnapping. However, the city lord of the Blue Land City is already aware of that, and she wants an information that will give her more substance in solving the kidnapping problem. All of a sudden, one of the security units informs the city lord that the surveillance data has been restored already. Then, he asked Bai Xiaoan to come over as well, which makes Bai Xiaoan feel like he's being targeted. Not long after, they entered a room where a masked man was waiting. It is then revealed that the masked man is the city lord of the Black Sand City. Upon seeing him, Bai Xiaoan feels like he has seen him before. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls Bai Xiaoan's name. It's no other than Feng Qinyu. On the other hand, Bai Xiaoan wonders why she seems so mad. All of a sudden, Feng Qinyu hugged Bai Xiaoan so tightly, making him blush. Bai Xiaoan then asks if Yan Po Tian is just okay, which irritates Feng Qinyu because he doesn't even bother to ask if she's okay or not. After witnessing a glimpse of youthful love, the masked man activates his skill, and he starts showing them the surveillance footage. The masked man then tells them that the perpetrator is just one person. Bai Xiaoan pointed out the certain surveillance footage where the culprit was. When the masked man zooms in the video, Bai Xiaoan recognizes her as no other than Qiao Gubai. Bai Xiaoan is confused as to why Qiao Gubai seems like a different person. Upon confirming who the culprit was, they alerted their secret service. Feng Qinyu notices Bai Xiaoan's reaction, and she wonders why his mood suddenly changes. Meanwhile, the City Lord of the Blue Land City and the City Lord of the Black Stand City plan to proceed with their next action. After that, they ask Bai Xiaoan if there is anything else he would like to tell them. Bai Xiaoan feels extremely bothered, and he wants to know himself if the lady is Chao Gubai or not. At that moment, Feng Qinyu realized that there was a problem with Bai Xiaoan. That said, Feng Qinyu tells Bai Xiaoan that if he wants to tag along with the city lords, he can do it. She tells him that she and Yen will handle things on their own so he can do the thing that he really wants to do. Meanwhile, the two city lords don't have any complaints about Bai Xiaoan tagging along. When they leave, Bai Xiaoan looks at Feng Qinyu, and he wants to apologize. Feng Qinyu is left alone in the surveillance room, realizing who the culprit really is and why Bai Xiaoan is interested in meeting her. Moments later, the Secret Service arrives, and the City Lord of the Black Sand explains their retrieval operation plan. According to their tracking team, the culprit is taking a train heading toward the giant wood city. Their plan is to infiltrate the train from its carriage. The City Lord of the Black Sand City, Lin Gui, told them that upon entering, they must control the scene as quickly as possible to avoid commotion. Then, Bai Xiaoan will identify the culprit among the passengers. Bai Xiaoan thinks that something wrong is going on, and he thinks that being discovered is like being trapped in the enemy's hand. While the train continues to run, a lot of thoughts are running in Bai Xiaoan's mind, especially if the culprit is really Chao Gubai. Suddenly, one of the Secret Service units informs Lord Lin Gui that they have arrived. And just like that, they entered the train and successfully infiltrated it. Little did they know, the enemy already noticed their presence. One of the soldiers points a gun at a single passenger, who happens to be the enemy. When the soldier proceeds to confront the passenger, the soldier is surprised that it is suddenly missing. Unknowingly, the enemy used spider-like silk to paste her body on the ceiling of the train. When the soldier looks at the ceiling, he knows to himself that he messed up. The enemy then lunged toward the enemy, as she ended the soldier's journey instantly. The other soldiers witnessed what happened, so they rain her their bullets. The enemy skillfully maneuvers her body and makes use of the dead soldier as her shield. While the firing continues, the enemy cartwheels herself to the soldiers, and she takes them down one by one. And just like that, she strikes her final pose upon killing all the soldiers. Suddenly, Bai Xiaoan appears from another door, calling the enemy as Chao Gubai. When the enemy faces Bai Xiaoan, he asks her if she is Chao Gubai. The enemy seems clueless of what Bai Xiaoan is talking about. Soon after, Lord Lin Gui and Lord Dong Li arrive. Lord Dong Li wants to capture the culprit immediately, but Lord Lin Gui stops him and tells her that Bai Xiaoan seems to know the culprit personally. Soon enough, the enemy tells Bai Xiaoan that he is referring to the unlucky kid, but she tells him that the girl she is looking for is not around. Bai Xiaoan then asks her what does she mean by what she said. It was at that moment that the enemy revealed the truth about Chao Gubai. The enemy explains that Chao Gubai has two personalities, the good but unlucky and the bad but lucky. That said, Bai Xiaoan figures out that she has a split personality disorder, and he figures out that when Chao Gubai is in danger, her evil personality gets triggered to keep her safe. Nonetheless, Bai Xiaoan asks her why she is helping the demon spider cult. The evil Chao Gubai then tells him that she has the same interest as the cult. At that moment, Lord Lin Gui received an emergency call from the Secret Service unit. The soldier then informs the city lord about the rampaging sandstorm along their way. The two city lords cannot believe what is about to happen. Suddenly, an abnormal movement from the ground is also noticed by the Secret Service unit. Unfortunately, it is a giant sandworm that will give you nightmares for several days. The carriage where they are all in suddenly collides. The monster, also known as the Black Sandworm, keeps on attacking them. The giant monstrosity moves his body all over the train, causing it to get damaged. The evil Chao Gubai then prepares to go, but Bai Xiaoan stops her to ask what her purpose is. Upon going out, Baro asks her why she left some survivors. That said, Baro saw Bai Xiaoan, and he wondered why he didn't know when to give up. Baro then looks at Bai Xiaoan from the roofing of the train and calls their meeting as a coincidence. Upon seeing Baro, Bai Xiaoan gets extremely mad. However, Bai Xiaoan suddenly realizes that he is trapped in a sticky situation with some sticky webs. Baro then tells Bai Xiaoan that if he has grown up enough, he will come after him. After that, Baro and the evil Chao Gubai bid them farewell, along with their package for their boss. Before leaving, the evil Cho Gubai looks at Bai Xiaoan for the last time. Meanwhile, the sandstorm is engulfing the whole train, and the operator starts freaking out. Bai Xiaoan, along with the two city lords, are trapped inside the train carriage, and they cannot do anything but wait for the sandstorm to be over. Lord Dongli asks Bai Xiaoan why he simply lets her go. While Lord Dongli doesn't stop nagging Bai Xiaoan, his mind is floating around thinking that something wrong is going on. Realizing that Bai Xiaoan is not listening, Lord Dongli gets mad and tells him what their primary goal is. However, Bai Xiaoan finds everything that is happening to be suspicious because he knows that the two city lords can easily take the enemy down, but they do not. Meanwhile, Lord Lin Goi tries to calm her down, so Lord Dongli tells them that he needs to smoke some sticks of cigars to calm herself. Lord Lin Goi then sits beside Bai Xiaoan and tells him to widen his understanding with Lord Dongli. It turns out that the city lord has a high level of empathy to the point that he understands how important Cho Gubai is to him. While smoking a stick of cigar, Lord Lin Goi starts telling their youth story to Bai Xiaoan. Back when they were younger, they were good friends along with Lord Bai, and Lord Dongli is infatuated with Lord Bai. However, when they were about to reach their goal, Lord Bai left them. Then, the moment that they saw him again, he was already the city lord of the Bailin city. Lord Dongli, on the other hand, was acknowledged by the Lan family, and she later became the city lord of the Blue Land city. Meanwhile, Lord Lin Goi became the city lord of the Black Sand city because he inherited it from his biological father. He then tells Bai Xiaoan that he shares their story so he doesn't need to worry about past companions. After hearing that, Bai Xiaoan realizes that the geezers have something in their past. Then, all of them take some moment of silence as they contemplate about the things they need to do. Outside the train, the sandstorm has already stopped and subsided, and Bai Xiaoan starts wondering what is going on outside. Not long after, Hussein is cooking his ramen. Unfortunately, he accidentally slips and breaks from the dust of the glass windows, from which he fell. The three are completely surprised when someone falls inside the stranded train. That said, Bai Xiaoan and Lord Lin Goi approached the man, and Bai Xiaoan recognized him. Hussein felt bad about his wasted cup noodles. Suddenly, Lord Dongli notices Hussein's eyes, and she figures out that she is part of the demon spider cult. Lord Dongli immediately unleashes her spiritual sword and asks him if he is a member of the enemy cult. Then, she immediately interrogates him about the kidnapping of her granddaughter. Hussein, however, tells him not to accuse so easily. Then, he reveals that he is not a member of the demon spider sect. Bai Xiaoan quickly tells Lord Dongli that he knows the person, and he reveals to her that he is his grandpa's aboriginal friend. He further explains their complex relationship and points out that Hussein is not an enemy. However, after hearing that he's a friend of Lord Bai's, she puts her sword again on Hussein's neck and gives him an evil glare. Bai Xiaoan gets stressed out and wonders what evil his grandpa has done to Lord Dongli. Soon enough, Lord Lin Goi approaches Lord Dongli to stop her. Hearing his words, Lord Dongli calms down. Then, Hussein tried getting the gist of what had happened and began assuming how things happened. He then starts his assumption that the granddaughter of Lord Dongli got kidnapped and they got trapped in the train during the pursuit. Hussein continues talking about something that is not useful in their situation, so Bai Xiaoan stops him from doing so. Nonetheless, Hussein tells Bai Xiaoan that they have the same goal, which is to chase the demon spider cult and monitor their evil activities. Hearing his explanation, Lord Lin Goi asks him if there are two cults under the Spider Queen, which he confirms. Before long, a helicopter that will get them out of their trapped situation arrives, so Lord Lin Goi tells them to hop on it. Later on, the helicopter continues to fly at a certain location that is based on the orders of Lord Lin Goi. Meanwhile, Bai Xiaoan asks Hussein if he knows something about what is happening because if not, he won't be around the same area. That said, Hussein confirms that he really does have some information related to him. Bai Xiaoan is surprised that it is actually about him. Then, Hussein talks about his fight against Arthur and Asmodon, where he emerged victorious. It turns out that from that moment on, the demon spider cult has faced a problem of insufficient combat effectiveness, so they want to find the Spider Queen immediately to gain more power. Meanwhile, after learning that Bai Xiaoan managed to end two powerful demon cult priests, they were completely dumbfounded. Lord Dongli praises him, and as expected from Bai Xiaoan, he tries to be humble, though deep inside, he has so much pride in himself. Nevertheless, Bai Xiaoan is still confused as to why the demon spider cult kidnapped Lan Ziqi. It turns out that he is not the only one thinking about it, as Lord Dongli starts asking what business they have with her granddaughter. Hussein tells him that her granddaughter might have an extraordinary talent that the enemy cult finds useful. Upon hearing that, Bai Xiaoan remembers that she really has a unique talent. Then, Hussein asks Lord Dongli if her grandmother has a rare talent, which she confirms. Lord Dongli further explains that Lan Ziqi had awakened her talent even without the aid of the Awakening Stone. Lord Lin Goli also tells him about it but reveals that he wasn't able to make a detailed report because things got chaotic back then. Bai Xiaoan, on the other hand, is smirking because he knows that the awakening was due to the fusion of the two worlds. It also turns out that the legendary space bug took the initiative to form a contract with Lan Ziqi. Hearing all of it, Hussein figures out why they took Lan Ziqi. Apparently, Spacebug can establish portals between different dimensions, so the demon spider cult wants to take advantage of that to find the Spider Queen immediately. Suddenly, one of the soldiers informs Lord Lin Goi that they found traces of the sandworm in the desert. That said, he commands them to follow the traces. Elsewhere, Evil Cho Gubai starts mocking Baro about the traces of the sandworm. Baro tells her that he has a plan and tells her that he knows what he is planning behind the scenes. Evil Cho Gubai then provokes him and tells him not to accuse people easily. Baro then tells her that he doesn't care about her purpose as long as she doesn't get in his way. Suddenly, Baro grabs her face and reminds her that if not for him, she is still buried in the mine. Before leaving, Baro reminds her for the last time not to cross the line and tells her not to kill the inside agent, which means there is a traitor among Bai Xiaoan's allies. Elsewhere, the helicopter reaches the point where the traces disappeared. Lord Lin Goi then recognizes the area as the abandoned institute in the Black Sand City. They look around the area, and Bai Xiaoan uses the Eye of Apocalypse to scan it. The Eye of Apocalypse then shows him some holograms about the area. And just like that, he finds out that they are near the elevator that goes down. Bai Xiaoan accidentally steps on the elevator switch, and it ascends immediately, shocking them all. After that, they ask Lord Lin Goi where the elevator is leading because it's very suspicious. Despite the fact that they find the area suspicious, they feel like they have found the right place. Once again, Bai Xiaoan feels very suspicious about what is going on because he feels like everything is planned. That said, Bai Xiaoan asks the Eye of Apocalypse if Lord Lin Goi is telling the truth. Apparently, he's not lying when he says that he doesn't know anything about the elevator at all. Upon arrival, they are surprised that they have found a huge and advanced city underground. Suddenly, their illegal intrusion is detected, and in just a matter of seconds, they are already surrounded by soldiers who are ready to take them down. Bai Xiaoan recognizes their appearance, which looks similar to those who attacked the Bailin city. And just like that, the enemies prepare to deliver their attacks. Bai Xiaoan quickly summons Wake Boy because he doesn't want to take things longer. Meanwhile, Lord Lin Goi summons his Queen Scorpio, while Lord Dongli summons her Celestial Worm. As expected, Hussein also summons his beast pet, whom Bai Xiaoan calls Machanmachi. Hussein did not like his remarks about his beast pet, and he called out Bai Xiaoan for his behavior. Meanwhile, the two city lords start destroying the enemies, and Lord Lin Goi discovers that the enemies are just mechanical bionic men. Unfortunately, once they have destroyed them, they will automatically self-detonate. After that huge explosion, one of the high priests of the demon spider cult appears before them. Bai Xiaoan wonders who she is, and it turns out that she is Lilith, the second high priest. Hussein could not believe his eyes upon seeing her. Apparently, Lilith was killed by Hussein 20 years ago, and cannot fathom the idea that she is still alive. Meanwhile, Whale Boy continues to devour and destroy the remaining minions. Bada bing bada boom, Lilith summons her demon beast pet called Aphomet. Despite Aphomet's horrendous look, Bai Xiaoan and Whale Boy did not show any signs of fear. All of a sudden, Hussein stops Bai Xiaoan from whatever he plans to do. Hussein asked Bai Xiaoan to let him do it, and he commands his beast pet to reveal its true self. It turns out that the wood spirit that Bai Xiaoan calls Machanmachi has a scary humanoid form with several arms. Upon seeing it, Bai Xiaoan was completely surprised. Hussein then tells Bai Xiaoan that facing Lilith is his fight. Bai Xiaoan is too fed up with Hussein's precautions after overcoming stronger enemies from the past despite him stopping his attempts. Bai Xiaoan then tells him that he is actually the one who defeated the other high priests, and he wants him to acknowledge that he is no longer a kid and he can protect himself. On the other hand, Bai Xiaoan's attitude reminds the two city lords of Lord Bai. While Hussein and Bai Xiaoan are having some petty talks, Baphomet attacks them, ready to devour them from flesh and bones. Luckily, they understood each other's points and got ready to do their assigned tasks. The rampaging Baphomet is stopped by the wood spirit. After realizing what they needed to do, Bai Xiaoan left the fighting with them and he proceeded to look for Lan Ziqi. Unfortunately, Lilith appears right before him, ready to cut him into two using her leg blade. It was at that moment that Bai Xiaoan knew he messed up. Fortunately, Hussein arrives in the nick of time to stop Lilith. The two finally face each other again, and it is revealed that Lilith is Hussein's former student. Lilith pins down Hussein's sword using her footblade. Hussein then faces Bai Xiaoan and tells him that no matter what happens, he should not kill the Spider Queen. However, Bai Xiaoan simply tells him that he will make the right choice, and he exits the battlefield along with Whale Boy to look for Lan Ziqi. He rides Whale Boy, and they prepare to roam around the area. However, before leaving, Bai Xiaoan attacks a number of enemy minions. While in midair, Bai Xiaoan is overwhelmed by the size of the underground city. Thankfully, he remembers that he gave Lan Ziqi an item before. That said, he realized that as long as they can sense the presence of the item, they can locate Lan Ziqi. Bai Xiaoan did not waste any time, and he quickly used the Eye of Apocalypse to look for the treasure as he quickly moved around the city riding Whale Boy. Not long after, Bai Xiaoan managed to locate the item using the Eye of Apocalypse. He then proceeds to the location to see if he is right. Elsewhere, the two city lords continue to fight the enemy minions, while Wood Spirit and Baphomet continue to clash as well. Lilith masterfully strikes Hussein with her footblade. Hussein admits that Lilith has become way stronger than before. However, he doesn't plan to surrender anytime soon. Lilith then proceeds to her battle stance, and she supercharges her attack. Nonetheless, Hussein smirked as he figured out what amplified her power. The revelation made Lilith lose her composure. That said, Hussein proceeds to intimidate her with his words. On the other hand, the Wood Spirit and Baphomet continue to exchange powerful blows. Hussein tells Lilith that using beast pets like tools won't reveal the true power of the Beastmaster. Hussein explains to her that having the great master-servant relationship is the best way to amplify the beast pet and Beastmaster's power naturally. All of a sudden, the Wood Spirit returns to its tiny form and joins Hussein. Baphomet then is very much ready to crush the two with its attack. The impact is so strong that it creates an explosion in front of the demon beast pet. Unknowingly, Hussein is already on top of Lilith, ready to deliver his finishing blow. And just like that, Hussein delivers a strong attack against his former student. It turns out that he did not end her life, but rather he simply destroys the headgear that amplifies Lilith's power. To their surprise, Lilith is also the one in control of all the minions, so destroying the amplifier of her power also destroys her control over them. The two city lords are still clueless about what is happening, but they know to themselves that what happened favors them. Hussein then confronts Lilith, and he asks her if she doesn't plan to continue at all. It turns out that the trauma of Lilith's previous death has been triggered, and she can no longer fight at all. Hussein then orders the Wood Spirit to go back to his royal beast space. Suddenly, Lord Lin Gowei says that he doesn't know how long the war will last. Lord Dongli asks him if he happens to sympathize with the enemy. While looking at Hussein, Lord Lin Gowei tells Lord Dongli that they are just the same in terms of happiness and sorrow. Little did they know that evil Cheo Gubai was ready to attack them off guard. Hussein notices her, and he quickly informs the two city lords about the enemy above them. Evil Cheo Gubai then descends from the building, ready to stab any of them with Dagger Kun. Lord Lin Gowei is completely shocked by the unprecedented attack. Elsewhere, Bai Xiaoan successfully reaches the place where the Eye of Apocalypse leads him. He's horrified to see Lan Ziqi inside a weird red obelisk. Not long after, another enemy arrives in the area. He then introduces himself as Mefisto, the fourth high priest of the demon spider cult. Bai Xiaoan shows no fear before his presence, and he confronts him with his terrorist attacks. Mefisto, on the other hand, simply tells Bai Xiaoan that what they are doing is simply a form of resistance from invaders like humans. He even reiterates that no matter what they do, humans won't understand them properly. Bai Xiaoan prepares his battle stance in front of the unknown danger. He tries to intimidate the high priest by bringing up Arthur and Asmodin. Unfortunately, it only triggered his anger toward Bai Xiaoan even more, and he summons his beast pet. Bai Xiaoan trembles upon seeing the same beast that terrorizes them. To add more fuel to the fire, it is the evolved form of the ferocious beast that they encountered several months ago. It is called Evil Queen. Bai Xiaoan cannot believe his eyes after seeing someone who managed to form a contract with the ferocious beast. Mefisto looks at Bai Xiaoan, who seems to be in great disbelief, and he orders the Evil Queen to attack him. Whale Boy tries to blast it with water force, but the Evil Queen easily dodges it. Bai Xiaoan then remembers the weaknesses of the ferocious beast and feels very positive about it. After dodging the Evil Queen's attack, Bai Xiaoan summons Riven to envelope it with fire. Bai Xiaoan feels confident after doing the same trick as before. However, the Evil Queen is no longer as weak as the normal ferocious beast. That said, it activates its special vision and manages to see through the flame. All of a sudden, the Evil Queen creates several spiritual slashes that vanish the fire. Bai Xiaoan knew at that moment that he messed up, and just like that, he receives another powerful attack from the Evil Queen. After that, Mefisto mocks Bai Xiaoan if that is all that he can do. Bai Xiaoan, on the other hand, tells him that he should not talk too much because it's not over yet. All of a sudden, the Evil Queen appears before Bai Xiaoan, and he knows that he can't just underestimate it. While trying to remember how he fought the ferocious beast back then, Bai Xiaoan suddenly heard a voice that he thought to be hallucination. Not long after, he realizes that the voice comes from the metal life. Bai Xiaoan wonders how on earth he can hear a spiritual sword if it is inside his royal beast space. At that moment, Bai Xiaoan realizes that what is happening to him at that very moment is the same with that on the ghost world. That being said, it means that time stops when he communicates in that special way. The metal life then reveals that they can create a thinking space using the same technique, which allows him to connect with the minds of the creatures that signed a contract with him. Bai Xiaoan then asks Metal Life what the thinking space is all about. The Metal Life then explains that in the thinking space they all exist in a form of soul, which is why they can connect effectively. After knowing about that, Bai Xiaoan thanks the Metal Life for the new useful information that he learned. When the flow of time continues, the Evil Queen is already in front of Bai Xiaoan, ready to rip him apart. The impact is so strong. Luckily, Bai Xiaoan manages to block it using Metal Life. Then, he tells Riven and Whale Boy to go back to his royal beast space. Bai Xiaoan retaliates the Evil Queen's attack using the Metal Life. After that, he activates his possession skill and uses manifestation to hold one of the Evil Queen's legs. However, it is not enough to stop it, because the Evil Queen still manages to leap above Bai Xiaoan to deliver another attack. At that moment, Bai Xiaoan activates the thinking space to buy him some time. He then commands the Moon Ape to restrain the movements of the Evil Queen. The skill of the Moon Ape is effective in stopping the Evil Queen from moving. After that, Bai Xiaoan supercharges Metal Life with the combined spiritual power of Riven and Whale Boy. Combining their spiritual power all together, Bai Xiaoan manages to create a strong unison rate of power. When the accumulated force is strong enough, Bai Xiaoan unleashes it in a single devastating strike. When the force gets closer to the Evil Queen, Bai Xiaoan commands the Moon Ape to release it. The Evil Queen was left with no other option but to face its doom. And just like that, the Evil Queen was cut in half, and Bai Xiaoan successfully defeated it. The Metal Life is impressed with Bai Xiaoan, comparing him to a god slayer. When Bai Xiaoan tells the Metal Life that he will meet the god of their world, too, it gets very excited. Meanwhile, Mefisto claps at Bai Xiaoan's performance and tells him that he's a worthy opponent. Mefisto then activates his battle form, and red tentacle-like structures come out of his body. Then, with his complete battle form, he tells Bai Xiaoan that he will eliminate him. Bai Xiaoan cannot believe his eyes because, according to the Eye of Apocalypse, Mefisto merges himself with his beast pet, making them become one in a natural way. And just like that, he unleashes his deadly attacks against Bai Xiaoan. Elsewhere, Lord Lin Gowei confronts the enemies after not following what they have agreed upon. Lord Lin Gowei then asks Lord Dongli if she is just okay. At that point, it is revealed that the accomplice of the demon spider cult is Lord Lin Gowei. Evil Cho Gubai tells him that she is just following orders. Lord Lin Gowei then apologizes to Lord Dongli, which shocks her so much. Lord Dongli asks him why he is working with the enemies, but he does not say anything. Out of rage, Lord Dongli punched Lord Lin Gui, removing its mask in the process. Lord Dongli confronts him with his behavior of simply keeping quiet when he needs to explain something. All of a sudden, Lord Dongli's eyes grew bigger after seeing the eyes of Lord Lin Gui. It turns out that the eyes of Lord Lin Gui are the same as the members of the demon spider cult, which means he belongs to the same race. Hussein recognizes him as a mixed race, which means he has the blood of a human and the blood of an aboriginal. Lord Lin Gui explains to Lord Dongli that mixed races' aboriginal characteristics manifest later than pure-blooded ones. After explaining, Lord Dongli asks him if his blood relationship with the enemies is the reason why he is helping them. The confrontation stops when Baro arrives. He then tells them that they only want their land to be back to them. Hussein then tells him that he is hearing nothing but buzzing bee. Baro then jumps down and tells Lord Lin Gui that he did not expect him to find the underground city. Baro tells him that he needs to change some plans because no humans should know about the underground city. Lord Lin Gui stops Baro from doing anything and tells him that they have an agreement that they need to honor. Lord Lin Gui then confronts him for building an underground city under his own city without his permission. Moreover, it almost killed Lord Dong Li, which is very far from their original agreement. Evil Cho Gubai tells Baro that Lord Lin Gui can't figure out the situation at all. Baro then tells him that if he wants to end the war, he should cooperate with them. Suddenly, Baro leaps over Hussein and attacks him violently, resulting in a dangerous slash. On the other hand, Lord Lin Gui approaches Lord Dong Li and tells her about his involvement with the kidnapping. However, he also explains that he only did it to put an end to the war. Nonetheless, Lord Dong Li still doesn't agree with his decision. Not long after, Evil Cho Gubai approaches them to end the life of Lord Dong Li. Lord Dong Li then asks Evil Cho Gubai why she is helping the demon spider cult when she is not an aboriginal. Evil Cho Gubai simply tells her that they share the same interest. Meanwhile, Hussein uses manifestation to slap the bussing bee. Unfortunately, Baro manages to dodge his attack. Hussein gets ready to use another manifestation attack, but Baro also shows him that he can do manifestation as well. It then supercharges his spiritual power and ascends above. Meanwhile, Hussein notices the danger that Lord Dong Li is about to face. Baro then uses the manifestation skill against Hussein, but he doesn't falter because he unleashes several hands using his manifestation skill. After blocking the manifestation attack of Baro, Hussein tells him not to rush because the main event is yet to come. Out of nowhere, another manifestation arm punches and destroys Baro's wings. The punch is so strong that it sends Baro flying over a far distance. The attack causes thick dust to appear. Then, Evil Cho Gubai felt a fast force that passed through her. It turned out that it was Hussein, and he took Lord Dong Li away from the imminent danger he was about to face. Meanwhile, Evil Cho Gubai asked Baro if he will not chase after them, but Baro tells her that he has a backup plan. Evil Cho Gubai then asks him what they will do with Lord Lin Gui. Baro tells her that he is still useful, so they will let him live. Elsewhere, Hussein puts Lord Dong Li in a safe place. At that moment, Lord Dong Li reveals to Hussein that starships will soon arrive to destroy their planet. She further explains that they were given a 50-year period to kill the Spider Queen. That said, Hussein figures out why Bai Xiaoan seems so worried. Upon escaping successfully, Hussein wonders what's happening to Bai Xiaoan. A sudden explosion from Mefisto's attack made Hussein worry for Bai Xiaoan, and he wondered what was going on with him. Luckily, Bai Xiaoan manages to survive the attack. That said, Mefisto acknowledges Bai Xiaoan's potential because he is the first person who manages to block his move. However, Mefisto tells Bai Xiaoan that none of it would matter because he will die soon. And just like that, he unleashes powerful attack once again, and Bai Xiaoan was left with no other choice but to block it again. Unfortunately, Mefisto launches a barrage of attacks toward Bai Xiaoan and his resistance can no longer endure too much power. That said, Bai Xiaoan uses his thinking space again to gain advantage with time. Upon activating it again, he manages to avoid the attacks easily. Then, Bai Xiaoan summons Whale Boy, and together, they easily dodge Mefisto's attack. At that moment, Bai Xiaoan seems to be fooling around with Mefisto. Mefisto realizes what is happening, and he starts wondering why he can't hit Bai Xiaoan. Suddenly, Bai Xiaoan appears right before him, and he plans to deliver a finishing blow. However, he suddenly loses control of his body because he reaches the limit of his capacity. In that unexpected turn of events, Mefisto took the opportunity to end Bai Xiaoan, and he delivered a powerful attack, making Bai Xiaoan ascend to the ground while taking all the devastating impact. Bai Xiaoan wondered what had just happened to his body, so the metal life explained to him that his body wasn't able to keep up in using the thinking space for a long period of time. Mefisto then moves closer to him and tells him that he reminds him of his old friend. After that, Mefisto tells Bai Xiaoan that, unlike his old fella, he has no match for him. Then, Mefisto accumulates his most powerful attack, ready to erase Bai Xiaoan from his very existence. Bai Xiaoan knows the consequences of his actions, but he has no plan of running away, even from death. The devastating red spiritual energy is launched toward Bai Xiaoan, and a massive explosion takes place around the area. All of a sudden, Hussein laughs, and as the smoke subsides, it is revealed that he uses his manifestation to block the powerful attack. Seeing him again, Mefisto falters a little. Bai Xiaoan praises Hussein for coming right at the time, and he reveals to him that Mefisto is a tough opponent. However, Hussein suddenly draws his sword and places it on Bai Xiaoan's neck, making him completely confused. Hussein then asks him if he intends to kill the Spider Queen. Bai Xiaoan reiterates to him that they should not talk about such stuff, even in a critical situation. However, Hussein moves the blade closer to his skin, which shocks Bai Xiaoan greatly. Hussein asks him again, demanding an accurate answer. Bai Xiaoan knows that Hussein is not messing around, so he thinks carefully about what he will say. Seeing himself in a tough spot, Bai Xiaoan decides to stay true to himself and admits that he wants to kill the Spider Queen for a specific reason. Apparently, Hussein knows the reason behind why he wants to do it, which surprises Bai Xiaoan. Meanwhile, Mefisto feels offended by being ignored, as if he is not a menace that they need to be scared of. So, while Hussein and Bai Xiaoan continue to talk, he blasts them off with a barrage of devastating attacks. Hussein explains to Bai Xiaoan that the core of the Spider Queen is directly related to their world, which means killing the Spider Queen will destroy their world as well. After hearing all that, Bai Xiaoan realizes that killing the Spider Queen would make their world become like the ghost world that they recently witnessed. Hussein then confirms Bai Xiaoan's realization, which makes Bai Xiaoan mad because he did not reveal it to him in the earlier stage. Nonetheless, they have an immediate problem that they need to solve, so the two join forces to defeat Mefisto. Hussein did not waste any time, and he quickly leaps in midair to attack Mefisto. Mefisto and Hussein have some petty talks about their unsettled scores, so they decide to set their score until one of them dies. Mefisto unleashes his tentacle-like structures toward Hussein. Hussein, on the other hand, grins and prepares to intercept his opponent's attack. Hussein uses manifestation to create several arms that stop each tentacle of Mefisto. Mefisto looks at him aggressively, and Hussein gives him an insulting smile. All of a sudden, Bai Xiaoan appears above Mefisto, ready to deliver a finishing blow. Bai Xiaoan and Whale Boy agree to use a specific attack. While in midair, Bai Xiaoan leaps from Whale Boy, and together they deliver the double Moonlight Return attack. The attack completely cuts off the tentacles of Mefisto. Then, Hussein did not waste the golden opportunity to attack Mephisto's main body. Bai Xiaoan immediately follows his attack with another fatal slash using Metal Life. Mefisto is sent flying on a nearby wall. When the dust clears, Whale Boy transforms into its giant form, ready to devour Mefisto. Mefisto is caught off guard, and just like that, his body gets bitten by Whale Boy, restraining his movements. After that, Bai Xiaoan and Hussein use their powerful swords to cut the head of Mefisto into several pieces. Bai Xiaoan then commands Whale Boy to spit out the body of which the beast pet immediately follows. Hussein commends Bai Xiaoan's performance and asks him if he is trying to imitate his fighting style. However, Bai Xiaoan tells him that he would not copy the style of an ugly, disgusting, frog-eye alien. Mefisto's head flew in midair and was catched by another being. On his last breath, Mefisto apologizes for being a disappointment. Hussein looks at the being and says that he is not expecting that they would meet again. The being turns out to be Solaris, the highest priest of the demon spider sect. Solaris asks Hussein if he is still siding with the invaders just like the old time. She calls him out for going against his own people and obeying the invaders. With so much anger, she calls him a traitor. Soon after, Solaris removes her cape and her power surges. Bai Xiaoan acknowledges the immense power of Solaris. Hussein stops her from proceeding, knowing how destructive her power is. Solaris then unleashes her powerful sword. The two argue with each other's perspective. Then, Solaris reveals that she uses Lan Ziqi as a sacrificial lamb. Solaris also reminds Hussein of a huge number of invaders that died at his hands. Bai Xiaoan is completely shocked at the revelation. Hussein removes his robe and his power surges the same way as Solaris. He explains that he used to follow Solaris' path to ending the war, but he eventually realizes that there is another way to end it. Hussein then tasks Bai Xiaoan to save Lan Ziqi, which he agrees to. Bai Xiaoan asks Hussein what he is doing, as strong power surges from his body and his facial marks dissolve. And just like that, Hussein summons his beast familiar, Wood Spirit, and unsheaths his powerful sword. Solaris mischievously smiles at Hussein. She tells him that she remembers how they signed their contracts together back then. Then, she summons the Flame Demon, which looks like the fire version of Wood Spirit. Solaris reveals that the Wood Spirit represents the ground, while the Fire Demon represents the underground. It is then revealed that the two spiritual beasts came from the same origin. They are born from all things on heaven and earth. After being refined by the sun and the moon, the original spirit gradually differentiated just like Hussein and Solaris. Then, Solaris activates her battle stance called Inflammable, while Hussein activates his battle stance called Windy. Right after that, the two lunges toward each other, and their blades clash, creating a strong impact. The two immediately use their manifestation skills against each other, forming the whole body of their spirit beasts. Not long after, the extra arms of the fire demon grow from its back, and the two spirit beasts clash towards each other. On the other hand, Hussein and Solaris continue their sword fight. The two spirit beasts seem to have the same level of power because they can block each other equally. Solaris tries using Lilith's choice against Hussein to provoke him. She even mentions how he sacrificed his own race for the sake of the invaders. However, Hussein tells her that there will come a time that his ideology will come true. Amidst the clash of strong powers, Bai Xiaoan takes the opportunity to save Lan Ziqi. Bai Xiaoan quickly runs toward the obelisk and tries to destroy the obelisk. He then summons Whale Boy to headbutt the obelisk. However, the pillar is way harder than they thought it would be. All of a sudden, Lan Ziqi wakes up and gets surprised at where she is. She then sees Bai Xiaoan and his beast familiar in front of the obelisk. It did not take too long for her to recognize Bai Xiaoan. Bai Xiaoan tells her that they have to find other ways to break the obelisk because it's too hard for them to break it. Bai Xiaoan tells her with so much determination in his eyes that he will save her. At that moment, Lan Ziqi chooses to trust his words. Suddenly, Bai Xiaoan tells Whale Boy to go back to its original enormous size and commands to bite the obelisk into pieces. Meanwhile, Solaris and Hussein continue to deliver powerful blows to one another. Solaris sees through their plan, and she commands her spirit beast to cast a powerful attack against Bai Xiaoan. Hussein knows that they mess up their plans, so he immediately commands his spirit beast to intercept the attack. They both cast massively devastating attacks and a strong force is formed in the process. Unfortunately, because Hussein cast the spell later than Solaris, he did not manage to accumulate enough power to block the attack. And just like that, the attack of the Flame Demon continues to reach Bai Xiaoan. As the explosion takes place, Solaris warns Hussein to not meddle in her plans. She tells him that if he fights her, he will lose everything. Bai Xiaoan wonders why Solaris seems to have a personal grudge against him. Hussein then reveals that Solaris is his ex-girlfriend. Bai Xiaoan cannot believe what Hussein is saying, and he gives Hussein an evil glare to stop the cap. However, Hussein tells him that he is telling the truth. Nonetheless, Hussein reveals that even with their combined power, they would not be able to take down Solaris and her spirit beast. Elsewhere, an unknown man commands to blow up something. Suddenly, an explosion happens above them. Hussein and Bai Xiaoan wonder who is the man behind the explosion. Even Solaris feels that troublesome guys are coming. All of a sudden, a strong crystal attack is cast down to the obelisk. Bai Xiaoan recognizes the ice crystal spell. When the dust clears, the unknown man stands before them. Solaris, however, doesn't seem to get bothered at all. The man is no other than Lord Bai in his younger era. He then confronts Solaris about how hard it is for them to find her place. Lord Bai enters the hidden place along with his dragon familiar. Bai Xiaoan is completely shocked after realizing that it is no other than his grandpa. Lord Bai then looks at him and smiles like he is telling that he has arrived to save the day. Hussein then calls out the attention of his longtime friend. Then, he walks toward him and does their iconic handshake. Meanwhile, the Abyssal Frost Dragon stares at Bai Xiaoan and Whale Boy. Whale Boy recognizes that it is in the presence of its mother. Suddenly, Whale Boy asks Bai Xiaoan if he thinks it is weak. Whale Boy then tells Bai Xiaoan that it is a descendant of the dragons, but up till that time he is still in the form of a fish. Bai Xiaoan feels the emotion of Whale Boy, so he stays quiet while his beast familiar expresses what it feels deep inside. Whale Boy felt so sad about what happened to him. Bai Xiaoan can no longer stand how Whale Boy feels pity for itself, so he knocks its head to stop it from thinking that way. Then he squeezes the cheeks of Whale Boy and tells it not to feel bad about not evolving into a dragon. With sincere eyes, he tells Whale Boy that the accident that happened is the only thing that doesn't allow it to evolve into a dragon. Bai Xiaoan then reminds Whale Boy of its perseverance and resilience amidst facing great challenges. Then, Bai Xiaoan looks Whale Boy in the eyes and tells how amazing it is already. Bai Xiaoan then gives Whale Boy a nose-to-nose and tells it not to mind what others think. Bai Xiaoan then says something about riding the dragons that no one cares about. He even reminds Whale Boy how great it is for overcoming too many challenges in its life. After that, he pets him down and tells it not to be ashamed of itself. Bai Xiaoan also tells Whale Boy that it is his honor to sign a contract with it. Bai Xiaoan manages to lift the spirit of his beast familiar, and Whale Boy feels happy again. Meanwhile, Lord Bai commands his dragon familiar to cast a powerful attack against Solaris. Solaris, on the other hand, doesn't seem affected at all. And just like that, Solaris activates her most powerful battle stance. Lord Bai instantly felt the spiritual power that surges from Solaris' body. Hussein then starts to worry about what is about to happen. Hussein cannot believe his eyes to see Solaris doing the out-of-limit synchronization with her spirit beast. With the use of that spell, the soul of the Beastmaster and the Beast Familiar can merge with each other. Suddenly, a strong entity of spiritual power is formed. Solaris then went berserk, and the formed entity unleashes its sharp claws. It then struck the ground, creating a massive destruction in the process. And just like that, magma comes out from the floor of the underground hideout. Lord Bai quickly commands his Beast Familiar to freeze the ground. Abyssal Frost Dragon also creates an ice wall to stop the flame from engulfing them. Lord Bai confidently tells Solaris that he blocked her attack. Meanwhile, Hussein coughs blood with too much coldness. Lord Bai immediately commands Abyssal Frost Dragon to show what they can. All of a sudden, Lord Bai hands appears like the universe and powers up the Abyssal Frost Dragon. Then, he unleashes his powerful sword that looks like metal life. Lord Bai prepares his battle stance, and his sword's power surges like hell. Lord Bai then looks at Solaris and tells her that the wait is over. Solaris, along with her formed entity, lunges toward Lord Bai. Solaris is ready to deliver a fatal blow to end Lord Bai's life. However, Lord Bai doesn't seem to feel bothered at all. Strong surges of power come out from the two of them. Suddenly, a light pillar of spiritual energy rises. On the other hand, Hussein notices something is going on with Bai Xiaoan and his familiar beast. Bai Xiaoan is dumbfounded after seeing that the body of Whale Boy starts glowing and becomes transparent. Suddenly, an unknown surge of spiritual energy that resembles a galaxy appears above them. The water spiritual energy from Whale Boy envelopes it. Bai Xiaoan is completely shocked by what he is witnessing before his eyes. Suddenly, a humanoid form emerges from it. And just like that, Whale Boy seems to evolve into a whale girl. Bai Xiaoan and Hussein feel completely shocked with the turn of events. Hussein cannot believe what just happened. Even Whale Boy itself or herself cannot believe what just happened. After seeing the massive balloons of his evolved beast familiar, Bai Xiaoan can't help but blush. His mind cannot process the idea of how his Whale Boy turns into a fish girl. His beast familiar then tells Bai Xiaoan that he has always been a girl. Meanwhile, Lord Bai and Solaris continue to fight to the death. Lord Bai delivers a powerful slash, but Solaris doesn't show any signs of fear. That said, Solaris easily blocks the attack of Lord Bai. Seeing that, Bai Xiaoan knows that his grandpa is in danger. Without even saying anything, Whale Boy or Whale Girl lunges towards the enemy. Elsewhere, unknown characters start their debut. An unknown man enters his cell. After opening the door, the unknown asks the man inside the cell to have a conversation with him. The man inside the prison is another Giga Chad with glowing blue eyes. However, he seems feisty and very unfriendly.